Hey, what's up, drummers? I'm Jae Sinnett. Let's talk about hand technique today. I'm out here in my kitchen area, my kitchen countertops, because a lot of times I like practicing standing up, and my countertops give me a pretty good height for bringing my pad out here and just working out on some hand exercises, rudimental type things and such. But let's talk about hand technique. I use mainly, I play mainly in the traditional grip like this, but I also play match grip depending on what I'm playing. You know, a lot of times I'll play funkier things with the match grip position, but I think it's important to understand the differences for you. You know, depending on which grip you want to play. There are differences in the stroke, mainly in the stroke and how you're hitting the drums, and how the grip, affects the stroke and how you hit the drum. One obvious difference, if you notice with the match grip, the left hand or both hands are over top of the stick. When you're playing in the traditional position, one of the hands is under the stick, like that. So you get that weight on top of the stick by default. So your stroke, if you're not cognizant of it, it's going to have a heavier, down stroke to it because the weight's on top of the stick. You have more finesse, without having to think about it as much with the hand under the stick. You don't have that weight on top. So that's one difference. There are a few others, but I use mainly, traditional grip, but I play match, as I said, but the Moeller stroke. Now, Moeller was a drummer from the corps era, the marching area. He was fascinated with these corps drummers from the Civil War and how they played with such incredible endurance and power and facility and dexterity and all these. So it comes down to a point of physics with Moeller. It's like, how do you get all that power and endurance without overextending yourself? That's the key. And that's why the concept of the stroke is based on the physics. And back in those days, the Civil War, these guys, they played with one hand, almost like with the pinky finger holding the stick, and they were coming at the drum at this angle like that, boom. Starting from the elbow out, coming in. Right? Now this is a bit over exaggerated. And gradually, if you're looking at the right hand in this case, it turned, it got away from that to that. Now, the grip starts from the elbow, the stroke starts from the elbow, and you can kind of visualize it if you ever cracked a whip before, or even bouncing a basketball. Those are two good examples of the motion of the stroke. It starts from the elbow, down, the whip. You can almost hear the wind of the stick. That's very different than, right? Condense. But it takes all that stress off the wrist and the fingers. Now, it's also structured on a triplet, a 3-tier triplet bit of technique like this. 1, 2, 3. So down, medium, up. Elbow out again. Over exaggerated. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Condensed. 2, 3. 1, 3. 1, 3. Left hand. Match grip. Now if you put those hands together to make single strokes out of that triplet, Keep it relaxed. Well, if you practice that stroke, you'd be amazed at how much stress it takes off your hands, off your wrist area, off your forearm muscles. I mean, just out of your body. And if you just practice that. Now, something else I want to point out here too is how you're holding the sticks, how you're gripping the stick. Now, I will give you a little sound test here. See if you can hear the difference in the stroke and the sound I'm getting from the pad. Loose, choke. Loose, choke. Loose, choke. You hear that? The choke, when I'm choking the stick, the sound, I'm keeping the sound more in the pad. So it's almost muffled. Choke. When I loosen up my grip on the sticks, it's almost like the sound is like, thank you so much. You know, it's like an exhaling of sort, you know. Choke, loose, choke, loose, choke, loose, choke, loose. Right? So that's important because when you're over choking the stick, you keep the sound, you minimize the sound that you're bringing out of the drums. You keep that sound in the drums. We want to bring the sound out of the drums. And not just the sound that's affected, it's the feel. It's your feel and what you're playing. When you're over choking the stick, things sound tense, they sound rigid. You know, there's not a loose, soulful quality to your feel, man, because everything is tense and tight in how you're hitting. So, you know, a couple of little ways to tell how you're holding if you're over choking the stick or not. One, you can look at your hands. You know, if you're like that, you know, there's a couple of different ways to hold the stick. If you're holding it like that, choking the stick. Some hold the stick like that, the right hand or the hands. So it's a little bit more open. And I hold mine like this, with a loose index finger over the stick and a lot of use of the back three fingers. And my left hand in the traditional position, kind of like that. And this is something interesting to point out here too. You see that? You want to figure out where you should place your hand, your left hand in the traditional position, if the stick can balance like that. Obviously, if it's too far back, you're not going to get the balance, or too far up that way. You want it in a good position where it's going to balance. And another test for that to find out, see? If it's too far up, you're holding it too close to the butt end, you're not, or too far down this way, it's not going to work. You gotta get it in that sweet spot. Okay, and it's pretty much the same with the right hand. You know, find that place. But if you're, another way to look at this, if you're over choking the stick, you want to get the response from, once you hit after the attack, you want a response. If you're over choking the stick, see, that response back is minimal. My grip, when I hold it, see how that stick flies back? When I'm coming down, I actually letting go of the stick, and it has that natural, it almost flies back out of my hand. Whoop. See? And left hand, I practice taking these two fingers off the stick, just to feel that, you know, response, that open grip. Then gradually I'll bring a finger over top of the stick for some, you know, give it a little bit more control in my movement. but I'm not, you know, pushing it down and over choking the stick. It's still kind of loose, right? You still have an open, you're getting that nice resonating, beautiful sound quality out of the drum. In this case, the pad. Right? So, some little pointers there in how I'm holding the stick or how you hold the stick. And if you're playing match grip, just same philosophy with the left hand or the other hand, the opposite hand. Make sure both hands are doing the same thing. That's the simplest, you know, lesson I can give you in match grip. You don't want one hand holding it like this and the other hand holding it like that, you know. Or one hand with the thumb up position, the other hand palm over the stick. You just want to make sure they're, you know, in match grip position, that both hands are doing the same thing. And a couple of little quick exercises in time. Now, double strokes. You know, double strokes and flam exercises. I remember years ago in my college audition over at Norfolk State University, they asked me, you know, my drum audition, to play a double flam paradiddle. And I was always used to playing paradiddles, you know. I hadn't concentrated on the flams that much. So when he said flam double paradiddle, I was like, wow. And I don't know what I played. I played the exercise, but I hadn't practiced it. Flams are really good technique exercises, man. And the thing about that exercise, the flam double paradiddle, or even the flam paradiddle, single paradiddle, you have that one hand, each hand will do 3 beats. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Flam single. Right? Flams are always good exercises to practice. Alternating hands. And double strokes. You know, if you look at double strokes, you don't want to over choke them. Accent triplets. Straight. Straight. Accents. Straight. Accents. Alternate hands. Straight. Now, the choke, here's choked or open. And I'll point here that my stroke in my right hand, it's kind of, I start almost with a thumb up position, and then it's a flick out. Babu, 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 right? Choke. Left hand lead. Now, I'll also point out when I condense the rolls, when I bring them in closer together, I will grip the stick a little bit more tightly. But when I'm playing in a time where I can keep the rolls open, like 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Now if I try to put a triplet in there, those are pretty fast, but I'll grip the stick a little bit tighter. But open, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Kind of like that. And the index finger is off the stick. Left hand lead. loosely, straight, accent. Right? So, a couple of little pointers in technique. Again, match grip, make sure both hands are doing the same thing, and you don't want to over choke the stick. Or traditional grip, whatever you're playing, practice, left hand lead, right hand lead, flams, double strokes. Singles, open, choke. Know the difference in the sound. Open, choke. We don't want to over grip, over choke the stick. Make sure our balancing point with our stick or sticks are right, and that all these things help our technique. So, hope you got something out of this little brief lesson on hand technique, whichever grip you're using, traditional or match. Just be comfortable, breathe, practice exercises in time at various tempos and various meters. Pay attention to how you're holding the sticks. If you're over choking them, make sure you're getting a good response, natural response. You're not lifting the stick. You want the stick to come back naturally. Woo! Like that, fly right out of your hand, okay? So that definitely proves I'm not over choking my stick. So if you have any questions, or comments, feel free to send me an email to jazz, that's JAEJAZZ @yahoo.com. We'd love to answer your questions or to hear what you have to say. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon with some more drumming ideas. Thank you.